47 miles an hour faster than the NASCAR track record, by the way. That's what, 190 miles. What's 190 miles an hour feel like around this joint?
Feels quick. You know, you don't have a lot of time to think around here, but this is my favorite type of IndyCar racing. Over my 4 years of IndyCar driving, Milwaukee, Iowa, places like that have been the coolest to me. I think it really, you really see what an IndyCar is capable of, especially nowadays. We have so much grip. They're very efficient. And then this new track style they have here at Phoenix, it's got new pavement. It's a little bit more different of a shape. They've opened up turn 2. It's just super fast. So, people are going to see, if they haven't seen IndyCars around here in 10 years, you're going to see something that you haven't seen before. I mean, if you watch NASCAR racing, you're going to see speeds like you haven't seen. You see guys fighting, and it's cool. It's under the lights. That's the way you want to see IndyCar racing on short tracks. So I think people are in for a real treat here.
You turned your time right in the heat of the day, 88 degrees, nobody around you, getting a tow. So is there a little more left when you guys come back in April for qualifying, or is that about it?
I mean, I think we're getting there. Yesterday it was funny. Everyone kept doing qualifying times, but they weren't really quite there. You could tell that there's a lot more to go. And so, one guy would go fast, the next guy would see it, he'd go faster. And everyone just kept peeling a little bit more off because I think we were all learning about where the limit is. I think what you're seeing today is pretty close to where we're going to be. I mean, there might be a little bit more performance. Everyone's going to go away from here, try and learn something and bring something back for the race weekend. But I don't think it's going to be another half second. You might get another 10th, maybe 2 tenths, but what you're seeing today is pretty close to what's going to happen on race weekend. You
and I were talking yesterday. Everybody predicted gloom and doom in Iowa a couple years ago. We're going too fast. We got to slow the cars down, take the downforce up, and it turned out to be a hell of a race. What do you reckon we'll see here April 2nd?
Well, it's hard to foreshadow, right? We've had tracks like this before. Iowa is probably the most realistic representation for what this is going to be like, but it's also different than Iowa. Iowa has a little bit more lane usage. This is like a cross between Iowa and Milwaukee, so it's kind of hard to understand how it's going to race. I personally think we'll have a good show because people are going to get bottled up. You're going to get these packs of cars that can run close. You can actually run close here. The aero is not super effective like it is at Milwaukee. At Milwaukee, when you got behind someone, it felt like the whole car wanted to swap ends on you. So you couldn't be directly behind anyone. Here you can do that, similar to Iowa. You just don't have quite the lane usage, so like Iowa. So I think when you get in traffic, you're going to see guys bunching up, checking up. That's when guys are going to make moves. If it's 2 guys out front, it might be harder to make a pass, but all that jockeying in the midfield, how you get through traffic, that's all still going to be super exciting, I think, and that's where you're going to see the meat of the action.
Great increase from yesterday, but you're one of the few guys here that can give us a perspective from the last time IndyCars were here to now. More fun, more unbelievable, like a video game, or?
I mean, it's fast. It's definitely faster. I wouldn't call it a video game. I think, especially when you start getting down in the low 19s, it's not easy. But it's different. The turn 2 is a lot more open from what it was. So, the 3, 4 into the track feels like it used to, only new asphalt. 1 and 2 is quite a bit different, the way you approach the corner. So I love the way it was, love the way it is. I'm happy to be here.
Eddie, is it a compromise like other ovals, like 1 and 3? You have to. Is it a compromise, or can you nail them, both of them, or?
It's a compromise. I don't think it's as big as some tracks, but it's more of a compromise than a Milwaukee. But that's the fun of tracks like this.
Like for the fans watching, push going in, loose coming off. I mean, you have to get.
I mean, generally speaking, yeah. I mean, 3 and 4 has less banking. 1 and 2 has more banking, but it's a little tighter. So usually you'll have understeer down there and less understeer in 3 and 4. But some of it just depends on what you're doing and how the car's set up.
Well, we saw you last season in an unusual position because you weren't nearly as competitive as you usually are in ovals, and you said, I don't know what we're doing wrong. Looks like you found whatever it was.
I mean, we felt like, as really after Texas last year, we had a good direction, and we were able to just keep working from there and getting better. Focus on really getting better. Before, we weren't really where we needed to be. Right. So once we figured out where we wanted to be with the cars, then we could focus on doing things to actually get better, be faster. I always felt like last year there was speed in our cars. Like, our guys know how to make cars go fast, but we just didn't have a good enough baseline setup, and it's behind us. I mean, it feels like we're off to a much better start than last year, so that's encouraging. And there's a lot of time left before we get back here, so see what happens.
All right, Fuzzy Chevrolet, 2 Americans. I know them both. They live in Indianapolis. Ed Carpenter Racing 2-3 after 2 days of testing at Phoenix. Thanks for watching.